All right. I'm I'm 98% sure that we're live. Uh and I'm gonna give that other 2% to you right now. And we are live.
There we go.
I only want to give you 100%, man, on
I
everything.
only I only expect 100%.
Okay, damn. Okay,
Yeah.
most people be like, dude, thank you, man. And Kemo's like, no, these are my expectations, and you are just meeting them. I need that shit, dude. I need that push.
What are we drinking over there?
I'm having a little bubbly. It's just soda water.
A little soda water.
So I'm back in LA,
Hmm.
and uh, thankful that I'm not having to look for a restaurant job, waiting for some stuff to come through, and I'm finding myself meeting up with friends, but it's like an epic friend meetup because it's like the first time that we've gotten to see each other in months, and we're like coming out of the pandemic now, so we can like actually kind of have something to look forward to. And I just think that it's difficult not to drink a lot when you're celebrating. Uh, my buddy and I stayed up till like 5 a.m. on Saturday night, and very fun time. But uh, so I'm just helping my this week, kind of giving back to my body, little
So
soda water.
the gears are moving like this right now.
Yeah, we're just getting moving.
It's getting harder and harder as we get older. It's like a 2-day, 3-day recovery time for me. It used to be like just next day I'd be good. No, it's like 2 days, maybe 3 days.
It was when I was 32. I remember that's when my body was like, "Fuck you, we're done doing this shit. We're gonna make you pay."
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good, So reminds me to drink more water. Uh, my buddy Strassi got me into these bubblies because the tabs say "Oh hi."
See, things like that, small things like that, that people really care or they just show a little bit more care. I'm into packaging, anything. You can sell me a bottle of water, and if the bottle of water is in like a square
You
bottle or
are that
something,
guy, dude. You've
I'm
showed me
like,
stuff, and you're like,
you know
"Here, look
what?
at these."
It's another $3 for that bottle of water. I'll take it. You know.
You've absolutely, because I've been like, what water is this? And you're like, I don't know. The bottle looked cool, so I was like, I'm gonna get this.
Yeah. When Fiji first came out, I was like, yeah, we got to get that.
It's something. It's like, ooh, it's smaller. I want that
Like
more.
like I'm drinking a Coors Banquet right now, right? It's probably just a Coors in the can, but it's just look at that. That's just so clean and
It is clean as fuck.
it's very well thought. Yeah,
I started drinking Miller Lite again because they changed their labeling up.
that's what you got to do. You got to switch it up every couple of years. Yeah.
We got stuff to talk about, but now that we're on this, what do you think about our alternate uniforms
Which
for
ones?
Nebraska?
What did we wear this year? The all whites? We didn't wear the all whites this year, did we? We just did the black and white.
Yeah, just the black and white. Do you think they're flashy enough? That's the question. And this is the thing that always drives me nuts is because
Let me pull it up.
it doesn't drive me nuts actually. The fans have good reason to express feelings against a flashy uniform because the times that Nebraska has tried to go flashy, in my opinion, didn't work. It was not. It just wasn't tasteful, And maybe a
Yeah.
flashy thing with Nebraska. I think you got to be very tasteful because Nebraska isn't a flashy program. So if you're going
No.
to do something flashy, it's got to be super subtle. But I still think that we could do something a little more flashy.
The black and whites are nice. I'm
Like,
looking at
what about
them.
a thing on the end of the N? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm a fan of the classic N. I don't think we should ever change. I think we one time did like the block letter N, the new N that I really don't like. It's the new Nebraska N. That's
It's
what they have on all.
the fat
It's
end,
the fat N with like the crossbars on the ends of the N. Like
which is weird.
not
Why would we deviate from the actual helmet?
and a
You
lot.
wouldn't
Yeah,
fuck with the Packers thing. You wouldn't
yeah.
fuck with the Buffalo Bills' thing.
No,
Why are you messing with Nebraska's?
the N
Yeah,
is
I agree with
classic.
you.
And I've had, who we should have on the next one, or if, whenever we can, is Alex Jones. He has a lot to say about this.
Dude,
Every
yes.
every Saturday we're ranking jerseys and uniforms for every team, and one thing that we've agreed upon is that Nebraska should never touch the classic N, and I can't find any Husker gear with that classic N anymore because it's that new block letter N. So I have to go on, I don't know, eBay and try to find the old Nebraska arch.
Even my
Arch
hat,
name,
even my hat, it's still that's fatter than the Husker N.
I don't know what N that is, but that's not the classic N. Yeah.
No, it's
No.
not. It's like the hipster old. It's like the hipster take on the old N Husker N on the
I have
old
to
Husker N.
I have to find it, but I had this this document or this photo of all the different logos from the beginning of time as the Bug Eaters to now, and how everything has changed so much. Because now I don't know if what we grew up probably in maybe in elementary school was the cursive, I guess you would say, the script with the it would say Huskers over the or Cornhusk Huskers over the end. That wasn't an official logo. That was just something that we used. So
Well, what about? But here, you know what you have to blame? The starter jackets. Starter jackets. Every single one of them had that end, had the fat end. Dude, starter jackets. I blame starter. Starter is the reason that we don't have any Husker apparel with the helmet end.
No. Like even like Herbie Husker looks weird.
Not for me.
He's a cowboy?
Yeah.
I mean, the old Herbie Husker.
My nieces didn't want to go talk to him. And I don't remember when I saw Herbie Husker. I always wanted to go talk to him.
I mean, little Herbie's cute, I guess.
Yeah, little Herbie. I don't know where we'd be without little Herbie, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one great thing in the Nebraska program that's been a great addition.
Yeah.
I mean, first when little Herbie came on, I was like, oh well, that's kind of cool. It's almost like almost like a clown because it's moving, right? But then as we kept him on, it was like, yeah, this is dope. Like this is art.
Now, a question for you: I heard a rumor that we created the Wiener Schlinger. Is that true?
I wouldn't put it by us.
The Wiener Schlinger.
Who else would you think? Who else? Maybe Wisconsin. Not going to be as good. Who else would create the Wiener Schlinger?
For everyone that doesn't know what the Wiener Schlinger is, it's a device. It's a
Can we bring
cannon.
up a picture?
Let's see.
Here, I'll get a picture. You keep explaining it.
I promise you. I guarantee you misspell it.
Okay, yeah,
Wiener,
you're right. You should do
it. No, you can look it up. Google will find it. But for everyone that doesn't know what the Wiener Schlinger is, it's a hot dog. It's a hot dog shaped cannon that you put hot dogs in, and you shoot them up to the nosebleeds.
Wait, what is it called? Wiener Schlinger?
Wiener.
By the way, we are talking about a hot dog thrower, folks. An actual hot dog thrower. The Wiener Schlinger.
The Wiener Schlinger.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Nebraska created that, or maybe making that up. But why not shoot a Runza? That makes more sense. It's probably you know what? Budget reasons. The hot dogs are probably cheaper than the Runzas. Can't be wasting Runzas like that.
Okay, we ready?
Yeah, pull it up. Das Wiener Schlinger. There it is.
No gain brings up third down and 2. Ball is at 14-yard line.
Look at that.
That is the
That's
greatest thing that we have done on this podcast. That
Nebraska, and to go into it, I mean, the 2 years, or has it been 2 years without the spring game, or has it been 2 years? When was the last spring game?
We
Just
didn't have
1
one
year, right?
Yeah, just one.
Okay.
So 2 years since the last spring game. Yeah, sorry.
I'm tripping. So, spring game happened this past Saturday. Only in Nebraska that a glorified scrimmage can sell out. Usually we sell out the whole stadium, but I think we had like 30,000 people for a scrimmage, Brett. It boggles my mind. It's so crazy that people will just come watch a scrimmage, and even it was hard for me to watch the scrimmage. It's just like, I think the first half was stud, was what they called it. Is like it was like 2-hand touch, and then the second half they allowed them to tackle, and it was great to see fans in the stadium. Nebraska needs it. I'm sure the bars around the stadium were lit. People were getting drunk, tailgating for a scrimmage. Like it's insane what Nebraska football means to the community.
Mm-hmm. I think it's like it revitalizes in a weird way, like, because so much of our state's culture is around not just the program, but around game day.
Oh yeah.
And everything in the week leads up to game day. Even on Sunday, it's all about post game. How did we play? Who got hurt? Where do we think the program's going? It's just so much of a part of our lives.
It really
is. It's weird how it's become that, but it really is, And it follows you whether you're in Nebraska or whether you're, out in LA or, when you're a Nebraska fan, it's just like you care about it so much.
Yeah, and just to go off what you're saying, as far as like what football games mean to the economy, like even for us in LA, I'm curious to see what happens when everything's open. I don't know what's still around. I don't know what's officially closed down. I don't know what's just taking a temporarily closing. But in Nebraska, I'm curious to see if the bars on O Street made through the pandemic. Hopefully they did, because they do. I mean, being part of businesses in the past is like you have your chunk of the year that your income is coming through, so you can kind of make the rest of the year work because that money is coming in during football season.
Right.
So
exactly.
Yeah, so I'd be curious.
You think Misty's was as packed as it usually was? No way, man.
Yeah,
you ever
I don't
go to
know.
Misty's, get that barbecue, get that prime rib at Misty's?
I don't know if I've ever been to Misty's. I've heard a lot about Tanner's.
Listen, okay, Tanner's. Listen, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna, remember what you said. So, guys, a while back, Keymo, it was before the pandemic, and Keymo, we made this spur of the moment plan to have a barbecue at our friend's place without including them.
It worked.
For the 4th of July, and it worked. And Keymo, I was like, yo, what kind of food are we doing? And he's like, dude, let's eat deliciously.
Yeah, what did I bring?
And that fucked me up. And Keymo brought baked clams, right?
How about oysters?
Oysters, yeah, oysters. Fucking oysters.
2 dozen oysters.
2 dozen oysters. Yeah. And then the brisket after that.
Yeah.
Never
again am I bringing oysters to a party when I don't know the people that are coming, because I was just sitting there the whole time shucking oysters for strangers, and I didn't even get any. I'm not gonna deny somebody for an oyster. They want one. Cool, but it's gonna give me 10 minutes while I shuck this oyster for you, and.
I hope Eileen can hear you saying this. I bet she's laughing her ass off.
Yeah, never again.
It's so true. I kept coming up to him like, dude, do you need a beer or anything? I feel like you've been here for hours.
It's a terrible idea. Terrible idea.
But you were
But-
so nice because you tried to hand it off, but then like saw that people didn't know what the fuck they were doing. So be like, here, I got you.
I didn't know
Like,
what I was doing either, Brett. I
Oh,
just
you
bought.
did?
I had an
Dude,
oyster
you
knife,
acted.
and
You had so much confidence with that thing. I've
I
never.
watched a couple YouTube videos before I got there. Just trying to. How do you shuck an oyster?
Yo, I can't look like an idiot at this party. I gotta.
If you're gonna bring it, you can't act like you
Yeah,
You gotta know what you're doing.
dude, I totally thought I was like, oh man, he's fucking done this a bunch of times.
No.
Very
I've eaten a
confident.
lot of oysters, but I've never shucked oysters. So
It was great. The natural salt, of those fresh oysters was just you can't substitute.
Which I don't know if I've ever had oysters in Nebraska. I don't know if I would. That's
Tough to say they'd be as good, but you never know.
well, you know what? Maybe I haven't had oysters, but they're probably like a week old, a week from getting gathered, shipped to Nebraska. It's not good.
Well,
But, go
when
ahead.
I think about oysters, I think about Nebraska Cornhusker football.
Yeah.
And-
No. I'm trying to figure out how to connect that
How
right
do
now.
we? Yeah, I was like
The oyster.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's do this. You know what? I'm gonna connect it this way. Is that
Okay, yeah.
the oyster is so ugly on the outside. All right. So ugly on the outside, but as you shuck that oyster and you find the goodness,
Shuck it.
there's something there. There's something
Yes.
there that kind of tastes good. You don't know if it tastes good, but there's a chance you find a pearl in the oyster.
Yes.
Yes, you see where I'm going with this, Brett? Is that
Yes.
as ugly as the program has been, that red and white game, as much as I dog on the Husker program, and as a true fan, there were some glimpses of a pearl. There's like a little bit something there, and I have to apologize to all my Adrian Martinez fans out there. I'm a huge I don't want to say hater, but I'm tough on Adrian. I'm tough on Adrian. He's finally skinny again. And he looked really good. He ran really fast. But I texted you. I'm like, when Frost said he looks like a
skinny. He was flipping right through those holes.
Yeah, he said he's like a 4.4 guy. Frost said, I'm like, prove it. The last 2 years, I feel like he hit the bars on O Street way too much, and college really got to him. But you know what? He looked really good. He looked really good. He looked slim, just like what you said. He looked like freshman Adrian as far as his running.
Yeah.
Again, it's the first. I think he only played 2 series, and it was like 2-hand touch. So it's hard to see where he actually would have been down if he got tackled, right? So he just kept running to run through the play, but he looked like he was finding his gaps. The O-line looked great. I'm really excited for them. We'll see, it's going against the second and third team D line, but they looked good. As far as the quarterback and the D line, I'm excited for them. Running back is still up in the air for me. I feel like we don't have a solid running back, but we have a packed room. It's just not enough experience.
Who do you like?
You know what? I think I said last week, I really like that walk-on from Florida, Yant. He just reminds me of an old Husker running back, like a Dan Alexander or I don't know who's Amon Green. Not so flashy, just powers through. He's almost like a Jerome Bettis. He looks like I don't know what pads he's wearing, but he looks like he's wearing like the Carlos Polk.
Yeah.
The I don't know what you collar pad or whatever it is. He just looks like a powerful runner. And I'm usually a finesse guy. I like people that kind of is shifty and all that. And I don't think that's Nebraska running backs. You need someone that's just going to get you out.
Go ahead.
I just think I need somebody that's going to get me 5 yards, hard 5 yards. That's it. I don't need you to shake and bake and go on the outside. I just need somebody to pow through, make those linebackers tired, you know, that type of running back.
I completely agree, and I mean, especially unfortunately, and that these players played hard for us, and I like them a lot, but so many times you saw our more recent backs just unable to get yards after contact, and they just their vision wasn't. I mean, freaking Amir Abdullah's vision was unbelievable. I mean, he would just wait, you know what I mean, in that backfield, and you saw him, and then he would go. Like he just had this feel for the field that was like, to me, that's what makes the great running backs at Nebraska. And who I think could be is a little baby Corey Ross right now, who a freshman, and maybe it's just because he's wearing the number 22, but I think that Gabe Irvin,
he's solid.
I really like him. I like him a lot. He's a freshman. We got a lot of time to coach him up. I think he looked. You always talk about that word. He's twitchy. Like he can shake, and again, like he could build to that type of running back that Corey Ross was. I really think so.
It's weird because it's like that the running backs room is packed. Like I feel like Ramir Johnson has like been in the running backs room a long time. He didn't play on Saturday, but again, he's kind of that small kind of like Maurice Washington, Ronald Tompkins type of running back. And then you start getting into the bigger running backs like the Sevion Morrison and then the Marvin Scotts. And then we haven't seen Marquise Stepp yet. And unfortunately, he got injured during the spring. I don't know how that's going to affect his fall, but I mean, he's basically a freshman for us, right? Like we don't know anything about him. So I don't know. I think Ryan Held has I don't know. They're gonna have the running backs are gonna have to get together and work out because I think what it is, Brett, right? Like coaches can't be in touch with the players during this offseason until fall camp. So I mean, I think they can suggest workouts and all that, but it's going to be up to these guys to really separate and do off-season workouts and get better. So once fall practice starts, like we need to have a 1 and 2 combo. We need two strong running backs, I think at least. And honestly, some of these guys are going to transfer. That room is so packed, and unfortunately, we're not going to see a lot of these
and I
players.
hope they do for them and for us. Like we don't, because then there's so many guys on the because no matter what you do, even if as a coach, you're trying to coach 5 guys and make them feel like, hey, practice is every day. You got to work hard, yada, yada, yada. You can earn your spot. But it's like 5 guys, then you're worried about taking care of 5 guys as opposed to 3 or even 2. Like we can have 2. I mean, we need 3 backs just in case one of them gets hurt. But like,
sure.
I mean, if we have a 1-2 back, that's what look at Alabama, look at Wisconsin, look at Georgia. All of the schools that have the good backs have a 1-2 punch back, and Nebraska always had a 1-2 punch back. Man, you look at back in the day when we had Childs and Damon Benning, like they were obviously they didn't have the accolades that maybe Amon Green and rest in peace Lawrence Phillips had. You know what I mean? Like, but they were still damn good backs that were in that same backfield with them.
Well, and you got to get these guys to buy in. I mean, there's some people that will ride the bench and for a while and to get their chance, but a lot of these guys want their opportunity right away. So, I mean, I don't blame them if they feel like they can go play at another school, and I think we'll get into this later on about like you could even go to an FCS school and be looked at to go to the draft or get drafted.
Yeah.
So, maybe you don't go to a school like Nebraska, but you go to a smaller D1 school just to get the playing time. And if you light it up there and you have the right tools, you can get to the draft, you know. But yeah, running backs was a position that I was keeping my eye on. I was curious to see how the receivers were going to be, and
Yeah.
Omar Manning looked great. You know, he had that one mess up where he wide open and just bounced off his
Yeah.
hands.
What
But he,
happened?
I don't know. I don't know. He has all the tools. He's a freak athlete. He's huge. I think I think he beats himself up as far as mentally. Like I don't know what it is. I just feel like he just it doesn't click for him yet as far as
Yeah.
like his talent, but then also his psyche. I don't know. I feel like he could be a standout receiver, but something is just like internally, personally, just beating himself up. And if he had the confidence of what is it, Levi Falk and Wyatt Lever, whatever, it's just like these guys are just solid receivers that are just yeah, you can just count on them, but they don't have the athleticism that Omar Manning has. I'm just like, man, if he could get that, he could be unstoppable. You know, and we haven't had a receiver like that, Brett. I don't know when our last big receiver was, like maybe Quincy and Ninwa, and maybe uh was it Maurice Purify. We never had like a deep ball receiver like that.
And I don't know. I think we just need to focus on like is Adrian going to ever be able to throw the deep ball like consistently? Probably not. Like,
Yeah.
and is it about him having a weapon back there? Maybe, but I still don't know if he has the arm and honestly, the footwork that to be able to consistently throw the deep ball. I know he's got to have a threat back there, but I don't know. I'm excited about Torre.
Oh, he's solid.
I
He's
think
in the
he's going to
slot
be,
position.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
he's going to be a stud for us.
Yeah, I think so too. I think him, Oliver Martin just looks like reliable. Like he just looks like. I mean, he bounced from where did he go first? Michigan, and then Iowa to Nebraska. That's pretty crazy to go to all Big Ten schools. You know, like he's got to be a good receiver, and he looks like he's reliable. He looks like he has good hands. I think he's returning punts along with Cam Taylor Britt for us, and that position. I always keep an eye on those because, I believe in the past it was Amir Abdullah that was receiving punts. And these guys, I think Wandale Robinson did a little bit too. It's just these guys have sure hands. And I feel like Oliver is going to be solid for us. Yeah, Samori Toure. I mean, I know he was at, I think, South Dakota. And I mean, he wants to go a bigger stage, and I think he can do it. I think he was only like a two-star receiver coming out of high school, but his numbers were crazy. Oh no, I'm sorry, Montana. Montana is where he came from. Um, and then you have Xavier Betts, who didn't have that great of a game, but he has the breakaway speed. Another guy that I'm excited to see is Will Nixon. Unfortunately, he was on the white team, where I think the red team was very favored as far as the starters and the premier talent. But Will Nixon, I think, is going to be um, a solid fill-in for Wandale Robinson. I don't know if Alante Brown played. I don't think he played, but those two guys, Nixon and Alante Brown, could be good fill-ins for Wandale Robinson. And it's crazy to think that Wandale's gone, but he's kind of like an afterthought now. It's like next man up.
Nebraska fans will always be comparing people to Wandale for, you know what I mean? Oh, he's like a Wandale Robinson.
Yeah,
he got out at the perfect time because no one's going to hate on him.
No. I mean, the reasoning for him to go home, I heard his mother was sick. He has a 2-year-old little sister. He's from Kentucky. He has a chance to play in front of his hometown, home state. I'm like, yeah, I don't blame you. Give 2 years at Nebraska and go home. It's great. And I saw some things today that he might be a Heisman candidate. I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah. And to go off of Wandale, like, he wants to go to the NFL, of course, and Rondale Moore from Purdue, I think was like the 45th or 48th pick, I forget, so I thought Rondale was going to go a little higher than that.
I thought he was going to go way higher.
Yeah.
But they,
No.
they wanted those tall, taller, lanky guys. They that's why they picked Alabama. That's why I thought. I mean, how does what's his name he won the Heisman from Alabama.
Devontae Smith.
Yeah, and he went after his teammate, and I think that Judy. They just they wanted. I think they liked Judy's body type,
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
Anyway, all right. Well, that's a perfect segue. We got to start talking about the NFL now. We had a little had a little draft this past weekend, so we wanted to bring in our good buddy Sean Nugent.
Oh jeez.
Yeah.
Oh jeez. Here we go.
He's a diehard Miami fan. He's come to a Nebraska game with us in Nebraska to watch his Miami.
I gotta get another beer before he comes on. Hold on.
Yeah, grab a beer, everybody. But we go way back. He was in the performing group with Keymo and I as well, 18 years ago. And he's a TV producer now. He's done Undercover Boss. He's done Extreme Makeover Weight Loss Edition, Fear Factor. He's got some cool stuff. And anyway, he's a good man, one of our best buds. This is Sean Nugent.
Hello.
Oh, jeez.
How we doing?
In his Dolphins gear already.
So I figured if I'm going to talk about sports, I got to wear some gear, right? That's how this goes?
Fuck yeah, dude. I'm so happy to see you.
Where are you at right now? I just saw on your Instagram. You're mid-flight or something.
Okay, wait, Sean. Sorry, I just want to make sure you know we are live because you were saying that you didn't know if you could talk about it. I just want to.
I won't go that far. No, I won't go that far. Right. Yeah, no, I appreciate that though.
Is there an NDA that we get? NDA you signed?
I sent it. You didn't sign it. It's all good. No, I flew into New York this morning, and I was texting Brad earlier. I was so lost on time. He was like, "Yeah, you're good for 7:00, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's going to be great." And I was like, "Oh shit, I'm on the other side of the country." So then I realized 10:00. Now here I am in New York City and ready to do this.
Oh man, New York time, Eastern time from Western time or Pacific time is so bad, man. It's so hard,
especially for sports.
Yeah, true, very true. Yeah.
I just don't know how I grew up in South Florida. Well, I guess because I wasn't able to go to bars, so I was eating ice cream watching football at 9 p.m. So that was okay. But now it's like when you want to watch an event, it's at home in LA now. What I now call home, it's like. You're in bed by 9 p.m. and everything's done. Whereas here, like I just went to the restaurant to get some food and the Yankees game had just started and I was like, this is a rerun for sure.
So true.
Yeah.
Dude, that is, do you think that adds to the LA sports culture? Is that why they're more like, we'll show up when we show up and you know what I mean?
Well, I think you have to be dedicated on the East Coast. And I think that dedication shows out far more than it does where we're at. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Like imagine if you're watching like a Pac-12 game on the East Coast. What time is that? Like
they don't watch.
That'd be like you don't need.
They're drunk celebrating their team's win at the bar. Yeah. They're closing it down.
I mean, maybe Oregon in like 2009 was like probably the last time people watched Pac-12 games, right?
True. Well, isn't the last game for the Pac-12 like at 8:00 kickoff, or is it?
It's sometimes 8:30, 8:45. Yeah.
So that's 11:45 p.m. in New York. That's
correct.
Nuts.
I'm 3 hours in bed at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Nuge. What's your take on this NFL draft? I will say that it was very exciting. This is this draft. I felt like it was a reality show. It was very exciting.
Yeah, I think it's funny. I felt last year's draft built up to this year's draft, where I felt like last year's draft gave us that kind of idea that the NFL is starting to placate a little bit more into the NBA, where it's a little bit more star-studded, where we've kind of all three of us have grown up with football being an 11-person team, right? So you have 11 men on the field, but now it's really starting to turn, and not just quarterbacks. Like, I mean, you look at Kyle Pitts and went at 4. I mean, people would have taken him at 2 and 3 easily. They just needed a quarterback, So for me, it was like last year was pretty cool because all of us started getting into this. Well, now it's turning into, like you said, a reality show, and then this year it just really took it to the next level, and it was so fun to watch all these kids like go to a spot that they would have never gone to, maybe even 7 years ago, 5 years ago. So I thought it was very interesting.
What was with Goodell's chair? Did you see that?
The weirdest thing I've ever seen in the NFL. Yeah.
Did you see that? It was like lazy boy.
That guy couldn't be more in love with himself than anyone else. It's just insane. Like, hey, here's my living room. You guys loved it so much. Let me bring it to the stage.
I was like, what is going on? Why is his chair did fans sit in it or something? Like, no. I think you could win it was like a contest to sit in his chair.
You could. It was like the number one fan of each team or whatever. Yeah.
Insane, man. No.
Let's go.
Yeah, right.
Goodell's
COVID compliant. Yeah.
Swap right in your yeah.
So looking at let's look at the round 1, right? We all knew Trevor Lawrence was going first.
Yeah.
Number 2, New York Jets take Zach Wilson. What's your take on that?
So obviously AFC East guy. I think Zach Wilson, albeit looks 7, throws the ball like he's a man.
Did you hear the ESPN reporter? She goes, oh yeah, this is the Disney quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. The Zac Efron.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, you're so right. That is
bad. Yeah, it's bad. I will tell you this: he's very talented. Look, at the end of the day, 90% of these draft picks, the hilarity in it all is that it matters where they go and who coaches them. This kid's really, really talented. He's going to be terrible in the NFL because he's with a terrible organization.
So what's going to happen with him?
Zach.
Is he going to sit
sorry for
behind,
listening.
Yeah.
He's a big listener. He loves our show.
So what's going to happen with him? Is he going to sit behind Sam Darnold?
No, Darnold's in Carolina.
Oh shit! This is how much I know the NFL.
Yeah, Darnold got traded to Carolina, which is great for Joe Brady, who's the offensive coordinator over there at Carolina, who was at LSU and also worked with my cousin over at the Saints. That is a great pick for Carolina. I think Carolina can move forward with that. I think Sam Darnold's a good quarterback. I don't see him as like a guy that's going to win. He's not an Aaron Rodgers. He's not a guy that's going to win you a ring. But as far as the Jets, yeah, he's probably going to have 2 good years of honeymoon years. And everyone's going to be like, oh, this is great. We got a lot of picks. This is so fun. And it's going to be Sam Darnold 2.0. Same thing.
Right.
They just don't know how to do it up there.
Yeah, what is that? Why is it just like the general management? Like
it's a cocky New York feel. I don't know how thick these walls are, so let me calm down on talking shit about
New York. Yeah, be careful.
The Jets are – no, I can't even say that. I would never put that in. No, it's just management. And also, they just brought in a defensive coordinator coming out of San Francisco, Rob Saleh. He's a guy that's known around the league for taking egregious risks, but it works defensively, right? And if you looked at his 49ers teams, some of the games that they won in the NFC championships and even going to the Super, they took some crazy risks that normal ones and zeros kind of coaches wouldn't take. But people love him because he's a people's coach. But that's not a guy you need for a quarterback. You need, the Shanahans, the McVays, the Paytons, those guys to take this guy under their wing and just teach them the NFL because it's so different.
Yeah.
So you're saying they needed to get so Trevor Lawrence is a guy that they probably wanted, maybe.
Well, everyone wanted Trevor Lawrence. I mean, he's the sunshine boy. I mean,
yeah.
But
yeah, you know what, dude, you're right. Looking at the past quarterbacks for the Jets,
great movie.
Jeez, you had Brett Favre in 2008, which is like his farewell tour,
and that was the year he got in trouble with the chick with the photo of his. Yeah.
Yeah, Mark Sanchez for 3 years, and then Geno Smith for 2 years. I'm a huge Ryan Fitz fan.
Right.
Of course. Like I just think he's solid, clutch.
Yeah.
Josh McCown. Jeez, Josh, like 50-year-old Josh McCown.
So they went.
then-
The problem was because they drafted both. They drafted Geno Smith, I think, like second or third overall or something like that. And so they lost, and they traded into that. And so I think they lost all their picks. So then they're just like, who's the journeyman quarterback who's 75 years old that can come in on an AARP discount and get us a win?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on, we have number 3.
Always got
Let's
to
try
move
to
on.
move-
Anything more to say?
about the Jets. I don't care about the
What?
Jets.
You
Doesn't
started
matter.
in the AFC East for me, so I got a lot to say.
Yeah. Well, I'm just moving down.
No,
the
this is
draft.
perfect, dude. This is
The
perfect.
next one I'm really excited about. I'm a huge Trey Lance fan over
Me
the
too.
past week. I've just been watching his Sports Center had a special on him. I think he's just a solid guy. He's like a leader. That's what I got out of him is that I heard a rumor that
he's a gamer.
Yeah, exactly. I heard a rumor that he didn't have to return, but he returned to play for the scholarships of his line or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about that?
I don't know anything about that. It's a similar story that I heard, but I don't know what I do know about him is that Trey Lance is one of those guys that he has the talent, but he's never really been given the opportunity, and it's not necessarily his fault. But he's had a couple hurdles here and there. But in this great world of the NFL, like one little small hiccup, you get hit for that. So I'm so glad that he got drafted 3rd overall because I thought they were going to go Fields. I thought they were going to maybe jump and even I actually thought that Shanahan was playing us all and it was going to be like a Kyle Pitts kind of selection and they were going to stay with Garoppolo out there. But Trey Lance is probably, in my opinion, one of the most naturally talented athletes at the quarterback position that was drafted this year. I just don't know if he's going to be able to bring it to the NFL level. And he's with the best coach, but he's good. He's a good kid.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him. And his nickname, I don't know if you know this, Brett, but they're already saying Trey Area for San Francisco, baby.
So
Trey Area.
this is why I'm gonna say I don't.
Here we go. Go ahead, Brett. Go ahead.
On paper, I just want to say, on paper, okay. He's played 17 games as a starting quarterback.
How many interceptions? How many interceptions has he had?
Interception. Well, I was just going to make a point about the games, but
I think it's only one interception his whole career.
No, I don't think that's true. But I think it's a low number.
I think.
What do you get? What's your guess?
I think he only threw one his whole career, or is it just like the past 2 seasons or something?
Well, I think North Dakota State last year only played like 5 games. So.
Okay, fair.
Okay, so they finished the 2019 season 16-0, and last season he threw for 2,786 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions.
A season ago, yeah.
A season ago.
Yeah.
So here's my question. And those are phenomenal numbers. These are just my concerns. Only 17 games as a starter. Also, it's FCS. Like how much it's tough for me to know, especially at the quarterback position, if like you just said, Nuge, if he can handle the NFL. I mean, that is a big jump in talent.
It's the largest jump. The closest jump from that would be if they would allow high schoolers to go out into the NFL, right?
Yeah.
But what I will say is it's all about situation, right? So if Trey Lance went to New York, he's starting day one, right? If 49ers hold on to Garoppolo, who is trained from the Belichick era and is now sitting over there, and his only downfall right now is his injuries, right? If that man is healthy, he went to the Super Bowl. Let's put things in respect. The man went to the Super Bowl with a really good defense.
Oh yeah, that's right.
If Trey can stay behind that man for a year or two, you're looking at a guy that has the caliber. Now, make sure I'm making this clear: the caliber to be the next Aaron Rodgers. He has that maneuverability in the pocket. He has the gunsling ability. I mean, if you watch his pro day, left pocket, rolling out on his left foot, throwing it 67 yards down the field on a dime. I mean, the guy has it, but he just needs a little bit of time to learn the NFL because the competition he's going to get in practice is going to be far better than he's ever had in North Dakota State.
Right. I mean, looking at so I know Brett's argument is Justin Fields plays at Georgia, goes to Ohio State, plays these top defenses, whatever it is. But if you look at Ohio State's quarterbacks in the league, you can't name one besides maybe Joe Burrow. If you consider him,
if you use that,
right, or you consider him an OSU quarterback. But you look at North Dakota State quarterbacks, you have Carson Wentz and Easton Stick, and who are in the league, so there's something there. There's something there in North Dakota State, which, sidebar, Brett, Nebraska passed on a kid from Omaha West Side named Cole Payton, and he's going to North Dakota State.
Yeah, that's his back end, yep.
Yep, and then Nebraska took Heinrich Harburg from Kearney, and people are saying that Nebraska messed up and went for Heinrich instead of Cole Payton, and who Cole Payton's going to North Dakota State. So there's something there as far as breeding quarterbacks in North Dakota State. So I don't know.
Well, they they get the opportunity to let the quarterbacks do what they want to do, right? It's very different with Justin Fields in Ohio State, and Easton Stick, who you mentioned. Actually, I think Easton Stick, he was the number 2 overall 5-star recruit that actually committed to Georgia, I think, before he went out. But anyways, in North Dakota State, you have the opportunity to just kind of do what you want, and you grow by doing that. Whereas you can't make that many mistakes in other leagues, right? So it's kind of a toss up, right? It's like, do you want competition, or are you a guy that needs 2 years of just throwing the goddamn football as far as you can, and then learning the game a little bit better, and then going into the NFL and backing someone up for a year or two before you become a starter.
Right.
And no one knows what the real what's the best trajectory. We don't know. I mean, Tom Brady got drafted in the 6th round. We don't know.
Right, exactly. I'm like, what's the starting quarterback right now that's come from a small school that's successful? Who's like?
Well, Drew Brees came from Purdue.
True.
I mean,
Purdue.
I would say that's a small school. Maybe even, hell, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
He's definitely not a perennial.
Right.
They're in the Big Ten, and they're definitely not. They haven't been good for a while. Probably
Where's
since
Garoppolo from?
Playing for
him. Is he from UMass?
Yeah, some.
Even that, I'm like, damn. When was the last time somebody talked?
Oh well,
and
you got the Wyoming kid at playing for Buffalo, Allen. He's
a stud. Yeah.
Josh Allen. Yeah,
Josh Allen.
He's incredible. But also, speaking of Josh Allen, because again, we like to bring it back to the AFC East because it's the best division, obviously. But Josh Allen's numbers in his first 2 years, and even his first year, were far worse than Tua Tagovailoa's numbers last year. So there is a very quick growth that happens in the NFL, and it's either you get it or you don't. And as soon as you don't, you're gone, and then you're never back again.
So you're confident with Tua? You're happy with the or I guess we kind of went out of line.
I'm actually interested to hear this because I wasn't I'm still a Tua fan, but from the beginning, is he going to be what we think he's going to be?
So let's skip down. So the Miami got what was Miami's first pick? It was
Jalen Waddle.
They got Waddle.
Yeah, Jalen Waddle. That's who I was talking about, not Judy Waddle.
Yeah. I heard you guys. I was in whatever you call backstage or whatever. And I'm like, no, not Judy. Jalen Waddle is absolutely incredible. I think it was a great pick. Look, could I argue right now that we should have stayed in the 3rd spot and not traded out? But we got an additional 1st-round pick next year. So we traded out of 3, went to 12, traded out of 12, went back to 6, got Jalen Waddle. We knew that Pitts was going to be gone in Atlanta, and they said either Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle. Who do we take? And for the Dolphins, Jalen Waddle's the guy because here's the thing. Devontae Smith, everyone's talking about his weight, and that's why the Dolphins didn't pick him. It's not his weight. He just doesn't fit that. We need a guy that can catch it across the middle and have yards after catch. We need a guy that can also punt return. We need we got to replace Jarvis Landry, basically. That's what we're looking for.
He's very proto. Yeah, I see Jarvis Landry in him.
He's Jarvis Landry, but runs a 4.29, 4.3 40, which is unheard of. And he didn't even get to run it at his pro day. But we've seen him run a 4.35 in high school. And he went to Alabama. Not sure if you heard of it, but they really make him good there. So I'm happy with the pick.
I'm happy. I'm okay. Good. What did you think about Atlanta getting a tight end?
I mean, who
that's a
passes
good
Kyle
question.
Pitts?
That's the thing. Look, he's a generational guy. I think here's my stance on it the whole time before the draft, and this might have been me being a Dolphins fan. I was like, Atlanta has to get a quarterback, right? Like, Matt Ryan is not bringing your franchise for the next 10 years to the championship. He had his one shot, and look how that happened, 28-3, right? So why do you not get a quarterback? But then I look at Kyle Pitts, and I'm like, well, shit, every time I look at this man's film, I would have taken him at 1. I'm the most conservative drafter you'll ever meet. I would have taken him at 1. You would have taken
a tight end as your first round draft pick.
I mean, Brett, look at that. Look how the NFL is changing right now.
You know what? Let me take that back. I'm forgetting about Kelsey for the Chiefs, and there's
Travis Kelsey, Kittle.
Yeah.
Tight end is like they block, they catch, of course. It's
what
just
a cool time in the NFL.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. In order for you to defend a tight end of the Kyle Pitts nature, the Kelsey nature, those guys, the Waller from Oakland, to defend those guys, you change your personnel. There's not many people on the field that make you have to change your personnel. And I'm not talking about assignments. I'm talking about your personnel. You're in nickel on fucking first down. And you're like, oh my God, I got a slot corner who maybe can cover this tight end, but then I have to shadow a safety. So now half the field's gone because you got this guy that's just generational you can't cover because he's 6'6", he runs a 4.4. I mean, that's LeBron James on the football field.
True. For real. Yeah. All right, who's your steal of the draft?
I love how Sean's almost just like
I'm sad.
I have to change the subject because I can feel Nuge's frustration through the computer right now.
Yeah.
No.
I was hurting a little bit on that one.
Yeah. Who's a steal of the draft? Like Mac Jones?
Well,
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't think Mac Jones.
I'm gonna take it back. Mac Jones is probably gonna be very successful in the NFL, and I'm gonna be the idiot that said that he wasn't gonna be good. But he fits in New England. I'll say that.
Yeah, but that's the thing is everyone is, and this is me going on a personal snip, but everyone's very sold on the idea that they fit in a New England scheme. Well, the New England scheme was Tom Brady was there.
Yeah,
that's a lot of the scheme, right? So you build a scheme based off of your most important player, and Tom Brady ran that franchise. Now, I don't think that Belichick's a bad coach, and I'm not one of those guys saying it's one or the other. To me, it's they're still trying to replicate what they had with Tom, and they're never going to get that. That guy he's a legend. So I think Mac Jones at 15 was predictable, in my opinion. I had a mock draft that I did, and I had him at 15, and everyone was talking about the Pats trading up. I was like, absolutely not. Mac's going to fall that because he's not that good. And then Belichick's going to be like, I'll make him that good. And here goes the experimental, progress. And so who knows what happens. But to me, the steal of the draft really was Chicago jumping up to get Justin Fields.
Yes, that's exactly what I said.
Yeah. Oh. Now, I'm fearful of Chicago, similar to our conversation earlier about the Jets, of Chicago not doing what they should do with Justin Fields. But them getting him was huge. I mean, the way that they jumped up to get him and said, that's our guy. And that fact that Justin Fields dropped was also astonishing to me. I mean, look, we're talking about a guy. I remember watching him, I don't know, was it 5 years ago in high school in Georgia? And he was the #1 recruit, and everyone was following his signing day. And he had offers from every single D1 school. They literally threw their panties at him, whatever you want, right? He went to Georgia, and who did he sit behind? He sat behind
white guy.
He was the damn quarterback there for like 3 years. Yeah. And he went there for 1 year and was like, decided I'm not going to go there. And then who pulled him up to Ohio State was Urban.
Yeah.
Urban called him and brought him up there and said, but that was the year that Urban left. And then that's when he started. And I was like, this kid is he's done it. Like, to Brett's point, like, who has he played? Well, Justin Fields played everyone. I mean, he's done it. He's played in the practice squad and against the teams in the SEC. He's played in the Big Ten. He has played the best. Jake Fromm, right? Who played for the Patriots, I think, for a little bit. Or
is he still in the league?
He's probably a journeyman at this point, but I'm sure he's somewhere. But
Buffalo Bills. He's an American quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. Yep.
Yeah. So look, I think the Bears jumping up was probably their best move they've made in a decade. They're notorious for being terrible in the draft. So I think that was a pretty good and also surprising. When that came through my ticker, I was like, "Excuse me, that's not how you operate."
I loved it. I thought it was such a. I mean, like we were just talking about, kind of this star-studded event. You know, for the Bears, in my opinion, to get one of the stars of the draft. Obviously, I'm biased because we're Big Ten, but Justin Fields, he manages the field so well. He is so calm, and I tell you what, the season that he had this past year, I mean, he stepped it up. He was a stud. I think it was the Big Ten championship. Nobody was catching anything. Like, they just were flat as fuck. And he literally put the team on his back and, like, re-energized them, brought them back. They were, like, down and brought them back to win it. Like, he had an unbelievable game.
I think the reason people were down on Justin Fields is because of Cam Newton. And I don't know if that translates and makes sense, but to me, I think what they see with Justin Fields is Cam Newton. And they're afraid that because, look, if I'm taking him in the top 10, that's a minimum of a $20 million investment, right? So none of us have $20 million combined, right? So you're talking about paying one person $20 million. That's a big investment. So you're looking at Cam Newton and saying he had an MVP season and then drastically dropped. And here's where I differ on that kind of opinion is that Justin Fields is what Cam Newton wants to be.
Real quick, do you think Cam Newton's going to play over Mac Jones?
To start, yes, 100%.
You think he'll start the season?
Correct.
And I mean, like, is that going to be like, well, we're going to give Mac a couple games to get under his belt and then start him, like, or is it no? Cam's our guy.
I don't think that decision's been made yet. I think that they need to see Mac in camp.
Yeah.
And then I think Cam, he's a great 6 to 7 game guy.
Yeah.
If you play Cam Newton and he only has to play 6 or 7 games, he's probably top 5 in the league.
Yeah.
But if he's got to play 16 games, he ain't doing it. Because then he starts noodle arming and you know, and there's no receivers out there. Who is he throwing to? Edelman's gone and he was already 35 and drunk.
Where did Edelman go? Is he going to Tampa?
Edelman?
Edelman's
he retired,
retired,
right? Or is he?
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to Tampa.
Do you remember that picture? That woman shot a picture of. She was like in bed with Edelman, and she's like, "I fucked Edelman last night," or something like that.
Yeah. It was like on Tinder or something.
It's the amount
you can't be sloppy. You can't be sloppy like that, you know? Jeez.
It's fucking.
Did you see that Tom Brady? So Tom Brady tweeted yesterday or the day before. He's like, the real truth is Edelman just was afraid to tell Coach Bill that he's coming to Tampa, so he retired. But I'll see you in Tampa.
Yeah. Dude, Tampa's gonna be nuts. God damn it. We like that Tampa's good because of help me Keymo, linebacker. And
Levante David.
More so,
Levante David. Yeah.
Levante David.
Solid. Love that guy.
He is hands down my favorite linebacker to come out of Nebraska.
Oh, he's just unorthodox. Like he's small, man, but he's just.
He got big.
His body contorts in certain ways. I've just never seen a linebacker. You know.
I went to the NFC Championship game, the Saints and Bucks, last year, or I guess this year because it was in January, and got Levante David. What I will say about that man is there is no play that he's out of. He's always in the play, and that's something you want with a linebacker. You want him to just find a way. He's scrappy. Yeah, he just finds the play, and that's what you want. And I was very, very impressed.
Wow, Jackson.
I mean, that's exactly how he was in Nebraska. You know, he just and we talk about it all the time. Is like we don't have linebackers that do that anymore at Nebraska.
No.
We just, I don't know. We've just started recruiting different kids for that position, and it's like, man, let's go back to Levante David. Like, obviously he's he's a Pro Bowler, but still, like, just that mindset and is just like find the play.
Yeah.
A
little bit of coaching.
Yeah, and coaching. Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of coaching.
But
you guys had
I see.
Had a tackle get drafted this year, right?
Yeah, we had Brendan Hymus got selected in the 5th round by who was it? Was it the 5th overall round? Who did he go? I think he went to the Chargers. Is that right?
It was the Chargers.
And Matt Farniok, Brett's favorite, went in the 7th round to Cowboys.
Good.
Oh, right.
I'm glad he went to the Cowboys. He can suck on their team.
Yeah. And then Brett, I don't know if you know, DiCaprio Boodle went to the Chiefs.
That sounded very mean. I love Matt Farniok. He just I think what upset me about Matt Farniok is he was so heralded, and yes, at times he was our best lineman, but then he would have other games that were just so bad, where you just watched him just get pancaked, and you're like, "Fuck yeah!" Like,
I mean,
God,
it's crazy to see.
Shit, and
yeah.
It's crazy to see the transition from college to the NFL. Like, maybe no names, people that were kind of okay in college turn out to be really good in the NFL. Like, for example, Nick Gates, Brett. I never thought he was going to be I think what is he, starting center for the New York Giants?
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember his name being called that much when he played for Nebraska, and I don't know. I hope some of these guys like the Farniok and Hymus was pretty solid.
Yeah, Hymus was,
but these guys might just transfer over to the NFL, and again, it goes to coaching and staffing. So
it's also just a different league. It's very different, especially on the front. The front line is very, very different than it is in college. So different. Yeah. I mean, it's calculated in the NFL, and every little bit of it is important. Whereas in college, it's like, if I'm a offensive tackle and I have my foot back, my job is one thing: make sure this guy doesn't get there, right? But in the NFL, it's 7 things within a second, right? It's like, I'm making sure that on a chop here, I'm coming here. If I'm rolling and I got a hand on a man here and I need to come under here, if he's swimming here, I need to make sure that I'm cutting here. Like, it's so much more. And some guys, especially offensive line guys, especially in Nebraska, those are the guys that you like. Look, the Nebraskas, the Wisconsins, the Iowas, like that's the dudes you want, because they start to hear that and they, for some reason, they get it. Like other dudes don't get it, and it's impressive. Like, and that's why they just do so much better in the league, because they need more of that. They need more of the calculations and how do I do this, because they love that.
True, very true. I'm looking at the draft.
Are you okay?
Me?
He's falling asleep.
No, I just want to make, because he's late, and are you good?
I'm good, man. I'm
okay,
good.
Cool. Okay, you let us know.
What's your call time? That's the thing. Like, you just got landed from LA, and
I don't have a call time.
You don't?
My call time is when I show up.
Oh, boss man.
And also we're talking football, so this is
hell yeah. I love it. Okay, wait, what were you gonna ask, you? Because I got a couple questions too.
Well, I was just looking at the draft order. I'm like looking at all the people that I recognize in the draft, and I see Jacksonville took Travis Etienne. Is that how you say his name?
Etienne.
Which
so they got
from Clemson, which is interesting because obviously Trevor Lawrence went to Jacksonville. Yeah. I'm just like, well, that's interesting to see Urban over there picking up the Clemson players.
Yeah, well, Travis Etienne was probably the best running back in all of college for maybe 2 years before Najee came out last year.
Yeah,
solid. He was solid.
Totally
agree. What I was blown away by is, if we're going to talk running backs, Brett might have seen this on my Twitter. I was in love with Najee Harris. Yeah. I wanted Najee more than anything in the world. He is, in my humble opinion, the most talented running back to come out of college in maybe the last 7 to 10 years.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. And I'm not saying because look, you got Saquon and Saquon's got, the thighs of redwoods that you just can't deal with. But he's got one game, right? But his one game is absolutely incredible. Don't take it away from Saquon. But Najee is everything. He blocks, he catches, he leaps, he's protection, he's smart, he's a good guy for your city. I mean, did you hear what he did at the draft day?
No.
Yeah.
So Najee Harris grew up in a homeless shelter. He didn't leave the homeless shelter until he was like 15 years old. Got drafted or, went to Alabama.
So
Instead of
parents?
didn't have parents, yeah. So instead of going to the draft, which he was invited to, and instead of throwing a party, he decided I'm going to throw a major pizza party at the homeless shelter that I grew up in. And that's where he celebrated his draft. And as soon as I heard that and the Dolphins didn't pick him, I cried for like 6 hours.
Dude, that's beautiful. I had no idea. Wow, thank you.
I love that, man. I love that.
Yeah. Thanks for
incredible kid and very, very, very educated, very smart. And that's what you want with a running back. You want a guy that, that's your second quarterback. That's your guy that also leads the offense. Like,
I'm cheering for that guy.
Yeah, I'm not because he's at Pittsburgh, and I'm like, dang it, he should have been with the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, maybe they'll. Well, we don't hope this for Najee, but maybe they'll screw it up like they did Le'Veon Bell. But yeah, I guess Le'Veon wanted to leave, so they kind of,
Yeah, they screwed it up a little bit with Le'Veon. I would have paid that man whatever he wanted.
Same.
Oh, this is interesting. Your boy Kyle Trask got picked by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 64.
Yeah,
that's your boy. I'm just giving you a hard time because he's a Florida boy, Florida Gator.
Well, he's the Gator. He's not Miami. Yeah.
No, I know. I just know. I know Miami doesn't like Florida, so that's why I called him his boy. But.
Oh yeah, he's like sounds like boiling.
Yeah. I'm just trying to annoy. But
I have to leave. Yep.
You know what, guys? I actually did just get a call time.
I do have a call time. It's now. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Kyle Trask is solid. Like,
do you know his story? So Kyle Trask, I don't know much of it, but what I know from Kyle Trask
is the godfather of college football. Like, he knows fucking every person. He's like, his story, right?
So Kyle Trask wasn't even a quarterback, and he actually wasn't even recruited as a quarterback. He was playing, I think, wide receiver or tight end or something like that. And a recruiter came to his school to look at someone else, and they saw him throw in practice because he was like the third backup or something, and they fell in love with him and was like, yeah, you need to come to Florida. And then Dan Mullen brought him into Florida, and of course, as Dan Mullen does, and I hate it so much, but he just makes these quarterbacks gems.
Do you think your quarterback from Houston is going to be and he's returning, right, for Miami?
Derek King?
Yeah. Do you think he's going to be solid for you guys?
Yeah, 100%. I really love him. He's a gamer. He's undersized, and that's the only thing that hurts him, but he fights against it every single second. And he's talented. He's got a good arm. Look, I always look at the one throw. You can always tell when a quarterback can throw the ball, and I've not, no offense, but I've not seen this at Nebraska in probably 40 years. But if you see a 7 to 10 yard out on an opposite hash, and you see that quarterback throw it, and it's perfect, that's when you feel good about having a good quarterback, right? Yeah. And Derek King, in the first game that he played for Miami, because I didn't watch him much in Houston, he was a lot of running too there. He threw that ball, and I texted my buddies, and I was like, we got our guy. Yeah. He's just got to get into the system. And now, because he got hurt in the bowl game, he was so mad about that. And the fact that he's coming back. Look, he's not going to be an NFL rock star. Like, he might go out there and, maybe play some Wildcat stuff, but he's not. He's like 5'8". Like, he's not going to be that guy, but he can sling it. And he can sling it enough in the ACC to get us to the championship.
Yeah, I watched him at Houston, his Heisman hype year. He was solid. Again, it was Houston, but Houston's good now.
Yeah.
Like, who knew about the University of Houston?
Don't sleep on them. Yeah.
Yeah, they're solid. Yeah.
If we're talking college ball now, I do have to reminisce with Nugent. It was the day after our best buddy Blake's wedding, and we organized a watch party to watch the Husker game, and it was a super close game. It was against Wisconsin, and like we were gonna win, and then we let Wisconsin come back and win at the very end, and so we just started drinking, and then and we stayed. Everyone else left. Sean and I stayed to watch the Miami game, and Sean and I are screaming at the television.
But wait, to be even more clear, it was the Miami-Florida State game.
Oh, yeah. So
I told you, I said, I can't get too drunk, Brad, at your Nebraska game. I need to be ready for this. But I was so invested in the Nebraska game because everyone there was so invested. I was like, this is incredible. And then come Miami-Florida State, I'm like, I can't even see the TV.
How many screens do we have? There's only one? I see 4.
Yeah.
And they honestly did not say anything to us. Like, they let us have this whole area, Sean and I, to ourselves. Like,
Yeah, because when we
no
got
one
there, it was
wanted
like 30 people, right? So they made a table for like 30 people with like the projector screen at the backside. So, but everyone left, but they let Brett and I stay there at this 30-person table with the projector screen and probably because every time they came around, we were yelling, but whatever.
You know, that's the thing I love about Nuge is like no matter what team it is, if it's sports, you're going to be down to watch it no matter what it is.
Oh, yeah.
And I've always appreciated that because for myself, I love my teams, I love my players, but Nuge is always down to watch whatever competition there is, whether it's volleyball, baseball, water polo, lacrosse, whatever it is. He's like anything competitive. Exactly. Nuge is competitive. Like that's
I love competition.
Whatever it is, we're competing at it.
Yeah.
Dude, Nugent and Sean's wife and Sean and his wife Cheyenne came to watch a Miami game when Miami played. It was the year before you guys beat us in overtime at Miami, or the year after?
Year before.
Yeah. In one of the most sad, heartbreaking losses in Nebraska history. But the year before in Nebraska, it was a really good game, and Nebraska ended up winning. But afterwards, I didn't text. I literally was just like, "Hey man, great game. Thanks for coming." And he's like, "Yeah, thanks for having us." And that was it. We did not go out for beers or anything. Like I think that was after Joe's wedding. Was it? Yeah. Oh, you guys stayed after Joe's wedding?
Yeah, I think it was after Joe Sears' wedding, and we did. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because I was like, hey, because I didn't know how many tickets I could get for people.
Right.
So that's
and I saw you guys tailgating, and I was like, Brett, I'm so confused. Everyone here keeps being so nice to me, and I'm wearing all Miami stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. You won't get that in Florida. Sorry.
It's okay. Thanks for the heads up.
How many times have we seen Nuge so frustrated and almost in tears after sporting events?
Yeah, that's why I love watching. Seriously,
he's so passionate about everything. I'm just every time I watch on Saturdays when Miami or on Sundays Miami loses, I'm like, I wonder if Nuge is okay.
I just go to his Facebook. I love his Facebook posts. Seriously, I love it, dude, because I'm right there with you about Nebraska. Like the only reason I quit doing that is because my mom's like, Brett, you seem really angry. I'm like, what? No, I'm like, she's like, I don't think that you should post about Nebraska Cornhuskers on Facebook anymore.
Just like Monday to Wednesday, just like post photos of butterflies and shit, just to balance it.
I mean, you two, as far as sports fans, I've seen so many Twitter fights or beefs between you two. I'm like, Jesus. Nuge is fighting against Dolphin 456 _ Tampa. Something I'm like, and just going back and forth, and it just won't let up.
So there's since we're putting it on record, there's a guy named Omar Kelly. He's the beat writer for the Sun Sentinel down in Miami, and he's one of the big beat writers for the Dolphins. He is the largest idiot when it comes to football, and he's like, he reads the self-help books and like spends like an afternoon reading the books, and then like just yells at fans like, I'm so much smarter than you. And the fact that he hasn't blocked me is hilarious because he's blocked everyone. That's like his thing. He's like, oh, I'm so powerful. I'm going to block you because I write for a newspaper. And so, but he hasn't blocked me yet. And I just think it's because he knows that I'm smarter than him and he needs to shut up.
We can cut that part out of the podcast if you want.
Yeah.
I'd love to post it.
I'm down. Tag him.
Yeah.
Brett's gotten in a lot of fights. How many text messages that Brett texts me is just like, I'm in a fight right now with this guy. Blah, blah, blah. Check it out on Twitter.
I will say, though, that Brett gets into fights on random things. Brett will start fighting about volleyball and about all kinds of things. It's like, I don't even know what Miami's volleyball team is doing right now.
Oh, wait, yeah. Miami, didn't Miami and Nebraska play in volleyball? Or did Miami go to the tourney in volleyball?
I don't know who you're asking.
You.
I don't follow Miami volleyball.
That's how I feel. How I feel, Nuge. Every week we do this. Brett starts talking about volleyball. I'm like, huh?
I don't have enough time in the day to follow volleyball for college, man, or for just volleyball.
But our team's good, so there's a reason for us to follow it. We're good.
Yeah, there's a reason. There's a reason.
Yeah, like when Miami, like I watch Miami baseball a lot, actually, and they've always been a good squad. But outside of that, like if Miami basketball with Jim Larinaga is our coach, like I like watching them, But outside of that, volleyball or water polo or chess, I haven't followed any of that.
Jumping over to Miami.
Water polo fan.
While we're on Miami, how are you feeling about your Miami Heat? I think they're sitting in like a 6 right now.
It's kind of rough.
Silent 6. A silent like 6 seed. Like
which is exactly what they did last year.
Yeah.
But I just don't look, the injuries killed us. Jimmy Butler getting hurt probably, 30 games this year, I think he's been out or something. That really hurt us, and they just can't catch a stride. And it's funny because we kind of had this idea of like the coach carries us enough, like his smarts have gotten us to this point, but I think that's run out. No. I think we just don't, and we have the talent. We're a very talented squad, but now that you have stacked the East again with, the Nets have what? They got Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, James Harden, James Worthy, Jerry West. I mean, everyone plays there. Yeah.
Blake Griffin.
Yeah, Blake Griffin. Yeah, it's like, come on. Like, Dwight Howard's probably there. I don't know. Shaq's probably there. So, it's really hard. I mean, look, they had a great run last season. And I was so happy for them to get to the finals and go. And look, I'm also a big LeBron fan, but they went up against a beast with LeBron, and they showed their fight. They brought it to 6 games. They did it, but I don't know.
I'm a Jimmy Butler fan since Chicago, and I just think he's like an alpha. I think when playoffs come, he's going to turn it on. I don't know. He's gritty. I like it. He's always. I just saw. I think last night he was just going back and forth with a reporter. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah. Dude,
he always does.
And he's calculated though. Like he doesn't make those mistakes. Like he's not like an aggressive kind of guy. Like he's like a passive aggressive kind of mentality. But on the court, he's very aggressive. I love him. Yeah. How about your boy Derrick Rose?
I'm still riding with him, man. I think the Knicks are a sleeper. I think, it's finally nice to see him be in a role that he's respected in. He's off the bench. He's going to give you maybe 15 to 20 points every game, and like people joke around with his knees and all this, but my argument is like he shouldn't be in the league right now with all those knee injuries. Like he was able to switch up his game.
Incredible.
Exactly. You see a lot of people that go down with injuries like that and never come back. For him to be able to put up 20 points a game, I'm like, any team would take that. But
they were playing the other night on NBA TV his game against the Spurs in the playoffs. I think it wouldn't have in the regular season on his MVP year, and he was doing some crossovers and his like contortions with like back to the rim, but still so controlled and like laying it up. Like I miss that Derrick Rose, and it just is so sad that like injuries is a part of all of sports, and it sucks because some of our greatest athletes get derailed by it, and it's not their fault.
I'm even worried for LeBron with that high ankle sprain. Like what is he?
The fact that he came
35?
back and went out, that's where it's worrisome. Yeah.
Yeah, like that high ankle sprain. That's almost I don't know.
Yep.
Like I heard it's damn near like an Achilles injury. It's like yes, a lower ankle
Yep.
sprain is like okay, give it 2 weeks, but a high ankle sprain, man. And then with all these injuries that's happening, like Jamal Murray, who's starting to get to his peak and then tears an ACL. I'm like, man, what's happening? But
I mean, us being younger, we kind of think like, what's happening now? Is it changing? But it's not changing. This shit happens all the time. It's been happening for decades. It's like, but it is sad. It is sad.
Brett and I talk about this all the time. I think all three of us are like, if I was in the league, I would be like this. I could beat that guy. Blah blah blah. But then when you go to a live game or a live sporting event, you see how fast and how strong these players are. Holy shit! Like I would tear my knees in the first minute of playing an NFL or NBA game.
Oh yeah,
stopping on a dime like that, my knees would be tore up. So respect to all these professional athletes. Yeah. Right now, my knees are. I've been working like 12-hour days, and my knees are like worn out right now.
like, Keymo, I had to walk from the plane to baggage claim at JFK today, and it was a lot longer than I expected. I almost got shin splints. I was worried.
You called the guy.
I almost got shin splints.
Yeah. Hey, handicap right here.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. It's good talking to you, man. It's been a minute. I think the last time I saw you is when I met you up at the bar down south. Dude, what game did we watch? Did we watch a Duke game or something? Something random. I met you and Cheyenne and I think a bunch of your work buddies. I think they're Duke fans.
Yeah. It was after my football game. Yeah, at
Yeah.
Washington Ale House. Yeah.
Yeah. I miss you, bro. We gotta link up soon whenever we get back.
Yeah, feel free. Come on out.
And when you're not busy.
I'm always busy, but I always got time for friends.
Exactly.
Goddamn Angel. Thank you for coming on the show to break the draft down for us. I was very surprised with some of your answers, but they were, backed up by some good thoughts. So
we might need a nude sighting on this
Ooh, I like
podcast.
Nude sighting. Yeah, hashtag that shit. Yeah.
every like at least once a month or every few weeks. I think we need
absolutely.
to have nude.
Yeah. We need a Miami check-in.
Yeah, we got to do a better part of connecting the NCAA with the NFL. Like we gotta bridge that gap.
Yeah.
We'll find it. We'll find it.
Yeah. It's good to see you, dude.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. We'll see you next week.